Welcome to this week's Stompy 51 miniature adventure. Now, there hasn't been a huge amount of time for painting over the last few weeks. I've been very, very busy, but I have had the Compost Mentis ability to do a bit of rebasing and undercoating and a bit of assembly for my Beastmen Brayherds army of greyness for Warhammer in the old world. And here we go. Now, what's not to like about the Beastmen Brayherds? The beasts of chaos are the true children of the dark gods. Grotesque hybrids of fierce animal and primitive human, these horned and stinking warrior beasts infest the blighted forests that cover the old world. Their savage tribes explode from the depths of the haunted woods to wage bitter war against the civilized races, and so profound is the beastmen's hatred of order and reason that they seek to drag the world, kicking and screaming, into a barbaric and primal age. But either way, the idea of forest-dwelling barbarians who want to destroy civilization has always strangely appealed to me. So I'll take you through what I've been collecting bit by bit over a period of about 10-15 years with different materials. So this is some kind of Minotaur General by Zealot Miniatures. It wasn't that easy to assemble. I mean, I tell a lie. I just sort of stuck the various bits together and it was fine. But what I mean is I think it might be quite complicated to paint. A smarter person would have put these plates on afterwards. But I recognised that I might not end up painting these for a long time, if indeed I ever would. But you'll have seen from my various videos my approach to this. I've been playing, for example, some fellow who's focused on a beautiful Chaos army and painting it all up, and he only ever adds a new unit to the game when he's painted it. And I've been able to follow suit with my orcs. But the thing is, as far as I'm concerned, this is just a form of chess. You don't paint chess pieces. If you know what they look like, then you can play with them. And it's worth just getting things onto the table and having fun rolling dice. So he's going to be my general. A doombull with a great weapon. And then truly looking like they are some kind of band of Germanic mercenaries. We've got a Gore Herd. I swapped someone for a box of 30 of them unassembled the other week and had great fun assembling them. I mean, I don't think there's a single one that looks the same as any other. Let's get you in focus. And they were pretty good. I think the shields make them. Now, there is a school of thought that given that everyone seems to be running around with a two-handed axe these days, that there's no point in giving these guys a shield and hand weapon. But I just thought they looked great fun. And will I paint the shields like blues and reds and different colours? No, I don't think it'll look right. I think these are primeval. They use what's in the forest, and so I think it's just going to be some kind of plain wood colour, possibly using some kind of contrast paint to keep it all simple. This is my favourite head, actually, that one. He looks like, it reminds me of one of my kids, whenever they used to get annoyed and they were little, they used to pull their lip up and go, that's what you think. And they do look quite entertaining en masse. And he sort of exudes leadership, that head. And that indeed might be, what are they called? A true horn. Now I recognise that you've already seen a few, but it is quite fun just seeing what they look like as the Horde. I mean, you don't want to be bashed by that shield, do you? It's just not good for you. And this was my favourite sword in the kit. It looks a bit piratey, but also wildly dangerous. banner kept falling over. So I just put a rock at the back, a few little pebbles. I probably should have put it up more straight, but I couldn't get the arm to go up. And there you can see there are a few mold lines that need to be sorted out, but that will be something I do at the painting stage, if indeed the painting stage ever arises. I just loved the way that some of them were just sort of walking forward, advancing with great frenzy towards the destruction of civilization. You don't want to be bashed on the head by that either. Ah, so he must be the leader. Yeah, he definitely has that executive look. Follow me, lads. So, that's 30 gors. I suppose these days you run them in one unit. Not least because they have warband. And they have bestial charge. During a turn in which they make a charge move of 3 inches or more, they get a plus or modifier to strength. So guess what you need to be doing with them. So Ungor herds, I probably do need more Ungor. I've only got 10. I mean, I had a few kicking around, bizarrely, because I used them to make some kind of winged harpies, converting the wings of some kind of tyrannids onto them. And they didn't look very good. Not every project really works out. These things are amazing in one's mind, and they just don't quite pan out. Anyway, I always thought this was one of the best kits in 7th edition. I mean, look at the heads. Look at the character. And they do look very Greek, actually. And I think I'll take these out and respray them because they are a mashup of a whole lot of old random stuff. I really enjoy that part of the hobby, actually. It's like being an art restorer. Taking something that was all bashed up and half forgotten and pulling it together with the pieces that you have. They are smaller than other beastmen. Their horns, if they have any, are less impressive. That's a bit sad and diminishing for them. While gors may have long and spectacular horns, ungors usually have short prongs and horn buds sprouting from their skulls, so they're not considered to be proper beastmen. Oh. I don't know, are there any good harpy models? I think some of the newer chaos models might be good for it. Though presumably these days you could just pick up some of these avatars of war plastics, albeit I did find some of their dwarves a little bit hard to pull together, and they make some fantastic STLs nowadays. But I don't think there's any need to have those kind of diverters in Warhammer in the old world in 1.5 in the way that they used to be, because most units are probably quite happy to be charged if they get two ranks to fight. And then we come to Minotaur herds. Now these are avatars of war miniatures, and I had 2 sets printed out, which I bought the STLs. I was on the Patreon, and I thought that these were much better than the very goofy looking Games Workshop Minotaurs. And I only got the 2-hand weapon version printed out. And I might have thought about getting the ones with shields printed out because they look quite fun. I don't know how good they are in the game, but as you can see, 3D printing does have its issues. I mean, look, there's just these weird little bubbles all over it. But that's the joy of chaosy stuff. I could just add a bit of green or something and say that these are Nurgle. I should have got one done with a standard, because that really does make a difference in counting up who needs to take a break test. Some of them I wasn't quite convinced about how the torso got wedded to the legs. Oh, I need to remove that bit of linkage from the 3D printing process. And they're on a 50mm base. And that shows you. Oh, let's get them in focus. And this keeps falling off because it's not quite the right length. But, you know, it could be fine. It looks sufficiently terrifying. And I think they can be quite speedily painted. I think the armor would just be one of the darker chainmails, just dabbed and weathered. The leather black, and there must be a contrast paint I could use for the skin. Minotaurs are massive bull-headed monstrosities that constantly hunger for hot blood and red meat, which is a bit unfair really, because they're just giant cows. To a Minotaur, the battlefield is a place of maddening excess. The scent of gore drives them wild, and they bellow their hunger for all to hear. Only weapon skill 4 though. I have 47 points. I think, isn't that exactly the same as a stone troll? I mean, they are pretty big compared to a gore. And I think I just had these printed at the standard setting, nothing special. I've always loved Centigor herds. I mean, they've never been good in the game, I think. Strong of limb and fleet of foot, Centigors are powerful creatures. However, they are not especially agile, and while they have great strength, they lack the dexterity to manipulate objects with any skill or control. They are bitter and spiteful, resenting their awkward nature, and harbour a deep jealousy of creatures whose minds and bodies are better matched. They are usually drunk, and have the drunken rule. Weapon skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4, so why are they regarded as so bad? It must be drunk. And they have stomp attacks 1. Anyway, I don't really care, as far as I'm concerned. They look fantastic. And these are metal. Let me just look at that. I mean, they're not likely to be painted anytime soon, but they are very tempting. And I don't know why, I feel they should have blue shields. Slightly cinchy. No, I hadn't realised that's the same model. So Tuskor and Razorgore chariots. So I made these up a while back for Age of Sigmar and then just rebased them. These are metal chariots, which I had from ages and ages ago, and I just got rid of the metal crew. They were, I think, like 2nd or 3rd edition metal crew, and they were beautiful, but they looked very, very goofy. And instead, I got some crew by making up some avatars of all 3D printed ones. And I think I had this metal one as well. Let's see if I can remember how I did this. I think he's fallen off. Yeah, so he's... I can't... Oh, yeah, that's it. He's got a little stub that goes in there. Oops. I mean, it will obviously work eventually, especially if it got painted and super glued. And they use that for toilet paper, that book of ancient Sigmarite prayers and runes. And they use that book to rip out pages and wipe themselves, which is what you would do if you hated civilization. Probably full of some great Sigmarite wisdom and knowledge. Yep, so these are avatars of all 3D printed miniatures. And these are zealot miniatures, large boars. And they are pretty big. So I would just, as I wished, say that they were Tuskgore chariots, or indeed razor-gore chariots, because they look pretty big and terrifying. And he's just howling up at the moon, as you would if you were a mad barbarian. Close order, first charge, impact hits. His first charge, if you hit the enemy that they can't use their rank bonus the first time you charge. So you want to get in there. Mark of Chaos and Divided, Primal Fury, Razor Tusks, and Warband. Yeah, I don't know if I would use them in a unit together. I like the idea of them all kind of running around like a Mad Max series of buggies, riding around the forest as opposed to the desert. The chariots of the Beastmen are ramshackle constructions, built from heavy pieces of lumber scavenged from the ruins of man's buildings. They are roughly nailed together with huge spikes. Even the largest chariot shows no sign of craftsmanship or finesse. This matters little because the brute strength and ferocity of the evil-tempered beasts is what draws these chariots and causes all the pain. 50 by 100 mil, yeah, that's, whew. Basing is always a terrifying thing. Have you got it right or not? A dragon ogre shagoth, and this model I've had since I first had an army. I mean, it was a small army, or a half army, I can't quite remember, in Warhammer 7th edition, when I used to go into the Games Workshops and play in like 2010, 2012, something like that. And even though I got rid of a lot of my Beastmen miniatures, a lot of these have been picked up over the years, as you can see, from different manufacturers, and some I picked up recently. But I got rid of a lot. But I always knew to keep the shagoth because it was such a beautiful model, and it is metal, which means it's very heavy. Although I do have the horns, but they were tiny, and they kept, sorry, and they kept on just falling off, and they were impossible to stick a pin into because they were so tiny. So I just nicked these from one of the ogre kits, and I can't quite remember which one. Unfortunately, it all fell to pieces when I had to break it off the Age of Sigmar base to put it on the square base. But it wasn't too hard to put back together, and I feel quite worth it. I mean, he too is pretty big. Hello, boss. Hello. I mean, I definitely need to get some dragon ogres. I played with them, against them the other day, and they just smashed straight through a unit of orc boys. It wasn't even fair. I don't have any of the monsters really. I don't have a Jabislav or a cockatrice. I have a Saigor, and he's so big, can he even fit in the screen? Maybe I'll get the hamster over there as part of the crew. He'd do a really good job. So I never assembled this. I swapped this for something. And he definitely looks Celtic with his rock there. And his embodiment of being an einhorn with his one horn. Cygors are huge, malformed giants, similar in form to Minotaurs, yet each possessed of but a single eye in the centre of its forehead. Through the eye, the Saigore is cursed to see not the material realm, but the ever-shifting winds of magic as they blow through the world. People always say these are mad. I mean, not very good. Soul Eater. Any enemy wizard that wishes to cast a spell within 12 inches or more must first make a leadership test. If it's failed, they lose their nerve, and if they continue to cast, the spell has been miscast. And if they fail to cast a spell, it's been miscast. And then I get to roll on a miscast table. Hoo hoo hoo. Well, what's wrong with that? That sounds like great fun. And they can throw, they've got a 12 to 36-inch hurl attack. What's wrong with that? That's fantastic. Ah, is it because they're 215 points? Anyway, it has been nicely assembled. and it too is huge. I'm sure it's a lot bigger than the 7th edition giant model. And then, last but not least, because I've only got 2 characters, is Malagor, who was a character from 7th edition, and he's some kind of Beastman shaman. I don't think they make him anymore. The shamans of the Beastmen race are vile to behold, their filthy bodies covered in matted fur, into which all manner of crude fetishes and grim charms are woven. Their twisted features are often covered in a ragged hood, and they bear heavy brace staffs as both brutal weapons and the symbol of their positions in the war herd. I mean, that is a fantastic looking staff. I mean, is that an imperial priest of Sigmar? An entire priest of Sigmar just shoved onto the end of his shamanic stick. Amazing. I think you really want to put them onto a tusk or chariot, but with his wings, I don't think he really would fit. No, not really suitable. I might get one of the plastic ones. And I think I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching to the end. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. I love people who comment because it gives me something to kind of do as I'm stuck waiting for a train or a bus or just meandering about between meetings. Either way, keep well, keep safe, and I hope to see you around here soon. You never know. I might even paint some of these, but probably not.